Guys, what in the world is happening with Boeing? They have facilities and a massive workforce spread across the entire country of the US, and we are seeing nationwide layoffs overnight. And this is some really frightening and scary stuff, especially these layoffs are happening during the holiday season. It sucks. And also, the US unemployment rate is already rising up, and Boeing is contributing to that because of slow sales. Look at this. Boeing layoffs almost 700 employees in Missouri, but this is just the beginning. If you guys think 700 people is a lot, well, give it some time because we're going to be seeing a few hundred being laid off at the Mesa plants. But this is also just the beginning because they're laying off a few hundred workers here and there, maybe 1,000 across the street. And when you add them together, we're looking at tens of thousands of jobs being lost. Boeing will be firing nearly 20,000 employees before Christmas. This really sucks for a lot of these employees because you're going to be laid off during the holiday season. It doesn't get worse than this. And Boeing is not messing around. They're actually going to be laying off like 20 to 30% of their entire workforce. This is a company that had a really amazing run, and now they're experiencing slow sales, a ton of bad press, and also just not that much air travel. Even Spirit Airlines recently went bankrupt because of terrible sales, and the layoffs are only going to get worse. Boeing has about 60 to 70,000 employees before the layoffs. Now they'll probably only be having like 40 to maybe 48,000 employees. And we're already seeing in real time that employees are being laid off across the country. A few dozen in that office, maybe a few hundred in this facility. These workers are no longer coming back. Boeing is also no longer in the position of ever hiring employees again, unless they get their stuff under control. In the past year, their stock has dropped 32%, despite the NASDAQ going up 20 to 30%. If you look at the year to date, it's down 40%. In the past 5 years, it's down 60%. Of course, over all time, it's pretty decent, but Boeing's stock price is about to be going back down to like 2013 prices. This is how bad it's getting. You know what, other companies having massive layoffs and bad sales, it kind of reminds me of what's happening over at Intel, which is firing off like 15, 20,000 workers with a stock price that keeps declining. Kind of the same thing happening with Boeing. And if you look at Colorado, 60 workers being laid off recently. This is happening across the nation. This is not happening in one single facility. Because one of the biggest things people think about these layoffs is Boeing is going to fire people from one specific area, like their Seattle location. That's not exactly true. Boeing is laying workers in every single sector, every single facility they have. And they have facilities across the entire nation. So we're going to be seeing a lot of these cities being impacted. It's not just going to be one city impacted, but numerous different cities. Boeing's revenue is just completely terrible right now. They're reporting a $6 billion quarterly loss. And domestic sales are also extremely slow. Boeing is in a very sticky situation because they can no longer have higher pay for a lot of the striking factory workers. And they can't really seem to be affording pay for 20,000 employees. This is why you're seeing record layoffs. And Boeing hasn't been profitable since 2018. And the company's just getting worse and worse as time goes on. If you also remember what's going on with Boeing, you know that one capsule they sent up to the International Space Station? That didn't seem to work, and now NASA has to get SpaceX to get the astronauts down. Boeing is just on a string of L's, and the media isn't helping either. Can't Boeing get things under control? This is one of the greatest American companies out there. This is also one of the last American companies where they actually do massive manufacturing. Since China is doing the majority of the global manufacturing, America doesn't really have much left. And Boeing is one of the OG manufacturing companies left in the US. We've already given up on our shipping industry. Let's see if Boeing can recover. But let me tell you guys, these layoffs are starting and they're pretty bad.